Alright, so for sake of convenience, I'm just gonna not mention the rollout. Yeah, we're just gonna act like we didn't have to wait 9 whole months for this album to come out. So yeah, there's a new Gorillaz album out and it's called Cracker Island. It took this British band 20 entire years to name an album after the country they came from. The album focuses more on a synth-pop type of sound and has themes of the cultish nature of modern social media. These are all themes that have been talked about before in the Gorillaz discography, but never to this extent. And the more pop-influenced sound of the album definitely helps in that aspect. The album has a tight, well-rounded track list of only 10 songs, which has no room for filler. And as a result of that, the album is pretty consistent in terms of tone and quality. Now before I get into the songs themselves, I just want to acknowledge the amazing art this phase has had. Now the Jamie Hewlett art is good in every single other phase, but this is really set apart by the cultish undertones of each art piece, and it looks fantastic. Also, this is the most lore the band has had since Plastic Beach, and I feel like it's better executed here because they were able to fully finish their story. With all that out of the way, let's get into these tracks, starting with the title song, Cracker Island.
On Cracker Island it was born.
Cracker Island is the first song on the album and the first single of the album as well, and I think it works perfectly as a tone setter for the album and an opening track in general. All with the sparse and energetic production and the first line which gets you straight into the world of this album. Thundercat is one of the best collaborators on the entire album, with his amazing bass line and backing vocals adding so much to the track's sound. This low-key might be the catchiest Gorillaz song of all time, with the melody and the lyrics, and I never get tired of listening to it. In fact, it was my most listened to song of last year. Also, this is the perfect time to mention I absolutely love the production of this album. Greg Kurstin and Damon Albarn make a great production duo. I also love how each verse starts. The first verse starts with "On Cracker Island it was born," then the second verse says "On Cracker Island it was raised," and the third verse says "On Cracker Island it will die." It makes the track feel very ominous and coherent, and reminds me a lot of fire coming out of the monkey's head from Demon Days. So yeah, great song to kick off the album, and great song in general. In my opinion, Oil is the best song on the album. This track is such an amazing achievement for Gorillaz. It has such an amazing 80s new wave sound, and I love it a lot. And having Stevie Nicks on board takes it to a whole nother level. The lyrics of this song take on the ominous undertones set by the last track and take them to a whole nother place. The way Damon and Stevie harmonize on this track is so well executed and beautiful. And the instrumental with the booming bass and drum make the song feel so big and cinematic. I've been listening to Oil a bunch and it might end up being in my top 10 Gorillaz songs, no joke. Definitely the biggest highlight from this LP. The Tired Influencer is definitely a slower track than the others, but it doesn't kill the momentum at all. Surprisingly, the Alexa sample is constantly being used in the background doesn't ruin the song. It actually fits the vibe a lot. As per usual, Damon's vocals on this song sound very sweet and melancholic. Also, this might be the best hook on the album. I haven't seen anyone else mention this, but to me, this song actually sounds a lot like the Postal Service. Intentional or not, that's definitely what it reminds me of the most. Yeah, a pretty simple and sweet pop song, which reminds me a lot of the Now Now, which might be why I like it so much. Silent Running is another big highlight for this album. The 80s influence is all over this album, but it's definitely the most prominent on this track in particular. And again, the hook is so good. I have no idea where these hooks are coming from, but they're some of the best in Gorillaz' entire discography. And the backing vocals definitely add to the 80s sound of the song. The lyrics are once again fantastic, and this is another one of the most catchiest songs on the album. A lyrical highlight is definitely the line "I got caught up in nowhere again." Being nowhere and things not existing seems to be a really prominent theme on this album. New Gold is a pretty good song. It took a little while for it to grow on me when it first got released as a single, but now I definitely appreciate it for what it is. Tame Impala has a pretty good hook, and the production he added to the song is pretty good as well. One thing about this song that I find cool is that it has a time signature of 6/4, and the fact that Booty Brown somehow found a way to rap over such a weird time signature is definitely commendable. One thing I'm not really into is how they mixed Booty Brown's voice. The effect they put on his vocals kind of makes him low in the mix. But even despite that, this is a very fun and catchy song. When Baby Queen was first released as a single, I absolutely loved it and it was my favorite song from the album so far. But now that I have the whole thing, it's kind of overtaken by the other tracks, to be honest. That doesn't make it bad in any way though. This is still a very good and sweet song. It kind of pairs with The Tired Influencer as a very chill and synth-heavy track, but I don't like it quite as much. It does, however, have some of Damon's best vocals on the entire album. He's really pushing his vocals in the song, especially during the end. The lyrical themes and melodies actually remind me of something that would fit more on Damon Albarn's solo work, but the synthwavy production definitely makes it feel more like a Gorillaz song. Tarantula is one of the weirdest songs on the album, and I love it a lot. There's pop all over this album, but especially with this one. Like, that hook is so poppy. I was not expecting Gorillaz to ever make a song like this, but I definitely welcome it. As someone who loves pop music, this is expertly done. And again, the song is extremely catchy. It has a really fun and energetic beat in contrast to Damon Albarn's more sad and melancholic lyrics. And it's a real highlight in terms of piano work. Tarantula is top 3 for me. Tormenta has been getting so much hate, and I don't think any of it is justified. Some Gorillaz fans are extremely close-minded, to be honest. And a lot of them were already dismissing the song before it even came out, just because it has Bad Bunny on it. Now, personally, I'm not a Bad Bunny fan. Not because I think his music is bad, but it isn't my type of thing, to be honest. But he was actually really well utilized on this song. It definitely has more of a reggaeton beat, which fits Bad Bunny's style, but Gorillaz definitely add a lot to it as well. I don't speak Spanish, so I can't really understand what he's saying, but I do like his vocals on the song. I think they really fit the vibe. My personal favorite part of the song is that piano solo with the storm in the background. I think it's expertly done and beautiful. And in general, I think Tormenta is a very good and melodic song, and I think it should be given more of a chance. Skinny Ape is such an awesome and fun song. I loved it ever since I first heard it. Some parts of this song could legit fit on the first Gorillaz album. The lyrics are stupid in the best way possible. And again, it's one of the best hooks I've ever heard from this band. I would never in a million years expect Gorillaz to do hyperpop, but it's actually really good. That super energetic outro with the chant is one of the best parts of the album for me. And I feel like this song serves as a perfect climax to this album right before the last song. It also fits perfectly with some of the more fun and carefree Gorillaz songs like 19-2000, Superfast Jellyfish, or more recently MLS. So yeah, another very fun and catchy song on the album, and a real highlight. To be honest, Gorillaz closers have always been kind of hit or miss with me. Sometimes they're amazing and conclude the album perfectly, like on Sokai or Demon Days, and other times they're kinda meh, like on Circle of Friends or M1A1. But Possession Island is the perfect closer for this album. It's such a beautiful song with the acoustic guitar and piano, and I'm glad they stripped away the production and let it breathe. Damon and Beck harmonizing during the verses and choruses is so great on this song. That trumpet solo comes way out of left field, but it's definitely welcome and fits the song. I can't imagine this album ending in any other way, to be honest. This is perfectly conclusive. So yeah, that's Cracker Island. It's a really good album in my opinion. It isn't their best and has no chance of beating my all-time favorites like The Now Now or Plastic Beach, but it's a perfect addition to their discography. It might alienate people who aren't as into pop, but as someone who definitely is, I adore this album. This is their most consistent album. There are literally no bad songs, and the highlights are some of their best. So yeah, I really enjoyed Cracker Island. I hope you did too. And if you did or didn't, let me know in the comments down below.